In this video, we will understand and implement the useRef hook. The useRef hook in React is used to create a persistent reference that doesn't cause re-renders when updated. And it's typically used for accessing and manipulating DOM elements directly, hence storing mutable values or retaining values across renders without triggering a re-render. Let's understand this hook with the help of examples. We'll create a component and we will use the useRef hook. So the example that we are going to implement will be to focus an input element whenever the component mounts. So let's create, I'm going to create with the name useRef.js. Insert a text box as input type equals to text. And now create a reference using the useRef hook. For this, we need input ref as the reference. Use the useRef hook and pass the initial value, that is null. Also import the useRef hook. This reference will now be assigned to the text box using the ref attribute. And we need input ref. Now what we need is, whenever the component mounts, the input should be automatically focused. So for this, we will require the useEffect hook. So let's write useEffect that accepts the first parameter as the callback function, the arrow function, and the second parameter will be the dependency. So we are passing an empty dependency because we want the component to render just once. Now all we need is the reference, that is input ref dot current dot focus. Now what is input ref dot current? This is the reference to the DOM element. So the DOM element here is the input field. So this will allow the direct access to the input field so that you can call methods like focus. Let's now render our component. Use ref. Let's take a look at the browser. So you can see that whenever the component is mounted, already our text box is focused. Let's implement another example where we will access the previous value of a state variable without causing the additional renders. Let's comment this and create the function once again. We need a text box. Input type equals to text. Value. So right now I'm keeping it null for the time being. Let's create a state variable. Const name as the initial state. Set name will be the function for changing the value inside the text box. The initial value will be considered as null value or an empty string. Now create the reference using the useRef hook. So I write here previous name ref equals to useRef. The initial value will be an empty string. Utilize the useEffect hook Pass the first parameter as the arrow function. Use the reference previous name reference dot current equals to name, and pass the dependency as name. Also mention the value name. Now use onChange. OnChange equals to, pass the arrow function. Parameter we are going to consider E, indicating the event parameter. Then use the setName function and pass e.target.value. Also print the current name as h2, current name should be printed as name, and the previous name should be printed as previous name ref dot current. Let's take a look on the browser. So if I write here M, the current name will be M and previous name is empty. So I write A, it will show me the previous state as M while the current state will be A. So let's say if we write it this way, so this way we are able to get the previous state as well as the current state. Now why did we use the useRef hook here? Because it's ideal as it holds the previous value persistently across renders without affecting the rendering process. If you would be using the use state here, it would trigger additional renders every time. Every time you update the previous value, so it would be triggering the additional renders, which is actually not required in this case. That's all for this video. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos.